Hello there, and welcome to the PeepSo channel. My name is Matt, and I'm a co-founder and chief technology officer at PeepSo.com. This live video will cover our latest major release, PeepSo 3.7, which is a critical security release, and as such, it is very important, and we strongly suggest that you install it as soon as possible. Let's dive right in. After discovering a major security flaw that has been patched in PeepSo 3.6.02 and later 3.6.1.0, we have taken a much closer look into our code. So the previous issue was pretty severe. It allowed privilege escalation, which means any user could become an administrator or take over an administrator account. Obviously, it was a very severe problem, which we have fixed as soon as we have found out about it. And as I said, later we have taken a closer look into our code and we have found some other problems which are not as bad as that previous issue, but they are still pretty bad. So the problems that we have found were very similar, as in a person who was not an administrator could perform certain administrative tasks in the PeepSo frontend. It was only limited to what the administrators could do in the PeepSo frontend, which means it wasn't a proper privilege escalation. No one was becoming an administrator. They could just find a way around certain endpoints in our APIs to execute them as another user. So they could change someone else's avatar, they could change someone else's cover, and they could edit someone else's post. So PeepSo 3.7 fixes all that. And of course, it includes the previous critical vulnerability fix. Because this problem is not as large as the previous one, there will be no backports or patches for older versions when it comes to these issues. Which means, yes, we have shipped patches for previous PeepSo versions when it comes to the critical vulnerability, as it is described here in my community post from 3 weeks ago. But the smaller problems with editing someone else's post and so on will only be shipped in PeepSo 3.7, and we will not provide any backports for that. But in order to make it easier for everyone to update to PeepSo 3.7, we have taken some steps that we believe are gonna make PeepSo a little more inclusive in terms of technology stack and money, of course, as well. So another important thing is we have lowered the technical requirements for our product. I have been on a pretty high horse here with dropping expired the PHP versions, and unfortunately we were forced to step back on that. So since PeepSo 3.7, we have lowered the required PHP version to 7.2, and we have lowered the required WordPress version back to 5.4. It required us to do some refactoring because we've been already using some syntax from 7.3 that wouldn't work on 7.2, but it's fine. We have come to a conclusion that using an outdated PeepSo version right now is a little more dangerous than using an outdated PHP version. So we still recommend PHP 7.4 and we still recommend the latest WordPress, but as of PeepSo 3.7, you can run it on the old PHP 7.2, and this is unfortunately as low as we can go. The idea here is that some people are still on outdated stacks, running old WordPress, running old PHP, and we're trying to make sure that those people can also upgrade to the latest PeepSo, just to make sure that they get those security fixes that we are pushing out right now, and of course the new features which we've been working on recently, and we're very excited about the post backgrounds, the events, and so on, the upcoming mobile app. Of course, we want everyone, as many people as possible, to be on the latest version, not only because of the security, but also because of new features. So another thing that we're trying to do to make things a little more inclusive, and I usually don't talk about our pricing or money at all in my videos, but I will have to mention that today. This year we have introduced lower prices, $99 for basic, $199 for starter, and $299 for ultimate. All three include the Gecko theme for free. We're talking 6 plugins, 12 plugins, and all plugins respectively. So we are trying to get as many people as possible on the latest versions. What we have done now, we have included even more flexible ways of getting PeepSo. So right now, subscriptions are not required. If you go to the checkout, there is a button that says disable subscriptions, meaning your purchase will not be a subscription. Your license will still last only a year, but it will be you and you alone deciding whether you want to renew it or not. There will be no automatic billing at all. If you have an existing subscription, you can always cancel it, but this gets rid of it during checkout. Yeah, so canceling, if you want to cancel your subscription, you would have to go to your profile here. Of course, it is better if you don't mind to have a subscription going on so that you are still on the latest PeepSo and so on. But we're trying to give people as much choice as possible. And another thing in the same topic is us introducing the 5-year bundle. Many of our clients or potential clients have been asking about something like a lifetime subscription, which we are not comfortable giving out because lifetime sounds like a very long time. But we think 5 years is a good compromise. So the 5 years license is only for the ultimate bundle, and it is same as the other bundles: 1 site, 5 sites, 20, 50, 100, and so on. The difference here is that you only pay for 3 years, and you sort of get 2 years for free. So if you look here, the price is around $900 for 1 site, where for 1 year is $300. So it means that you pay here for 3 years and you get 2 years for free. This is also not a recurring payment. So you pay once, you get 5 years. After 5 years, you would have to renew it manually. So as you can see, we are trying here to introduce flexibility in the pricing to encourage people to get the latest versions and to stay updated with the security fixes and the compatibility with latest WordPress and so on. And the lowering the system requirements also includes that. And then a little good news, I guess, on top of everything. We have included the Autofriends plugin in all of the bundles, starting with this version. And the Autofriends plugin, it has been merged with the Friends plugin, which means after you upgrade to 3.7 or later, the Autofriends plugin can be deactivated and deleted because all of the features of that plugin are now included in Friends. You will notice a new configuration tab called Friends. The Autofriends stuff is inside. And also for performance reasons, we have included a maximum amount of friends, which is a configurable field. The default is 200, which we are very comfortable with. In our tests, in the laboratory tests, we haven't found any major issues with 500 or 1,000 friends. If someone has 10,000 friends, the stream loads a little slower. I admit that the drop-off is something around 3 to 5% each 500 friends. So this also, of course, these are results from a laboratory test, not a live site without any active people going around and so on. So this is something that everyone would have to figure out. But unlimited amount of friends is a bad idea. No one really does that. As far as I know, even Facebook has a particular amount of friends that you are allowed to have. This is a performance thing, and we have introduced it in this version mostly because we don't want people to go a little too crazy on the Autofriends thing, friending everybody, and then noticing that something might be a little slow. So we want to bring awareness to the problem rather than stop people from doing it. You know, we want it to be a conscious decision telling you, okay, listen, there might be a cost to this. So before you go ahead and friend 30,000 people, we warn you that the maximum amount of friends is there for a reason. And this setting applies also to administrators. So at the moment you hit the limit, no one can send you a friend request. You cannot accept friend requests. You cannot send friend requests. And also the Autofriends logic will no longer apply to you. So at this point, you will just stop getting friends. It is 100% performance related. Good news is that we are working on new friends queries, which if everything goes well and if it's not too good to be true, we have decreased the cost of having too many friends by a lot. In our tests, pretty much there is pretty much no slowdown depending on how many friends you have. All the results are more or less baseline on our testing environment. Around 200 milliseconds is what it takes to load a single post if you have no friends. And if you have 10,000 friends, it's gonna go to 220, so maybe 10%. In the old system, it would go from 200 to 600, for example, so 3 times slower. So if you look at the graphs, for example, with a person who has 10,000 friends on the old system, the graph looks like this. It's sort of exponential. So it climbs very high, very fast, and then it kind of flattens out at around a pretty slow speeds. With the new logic, it stays flat around 200. It doesn't matter how many friends you have. We still have to test that a lot because, as I said, it sounds a little too good to be true, and it might perform differently in an actual live website. But this is something that we are working on right now, and it's pretty cool. Speaking of future developments, first of all, our friend Ferdy released a great tutorial about PeepSo. It is absolutely great, and it's very, very long, and it covers a lot of topics. I highly recommend it. We are still working on events that are still in beta, and this is an integration with WordPress Event Manager. Our post backgrounds feature is still in beta. We have hit some roadblocks there in terms of compatibility with Android phones and the way they handle text input. And of course, the work on these two has slowed down a little bit because of the major changes that were required to lower the PHP requirements to ensure that the stability of the application is not compromised. We are still working on an integration with MobiLoud for mobile apps, and that integration is intended since this month. It is intended to be extendable by third-party developers, so it will not be an exclusive MobiLoud application. We are working with a third-party developer who has like Instagram-like stories plugin, and he's integrating that with PeepSo. It looks pretty great, and we will be announcing that later. And last week we started looking into Translate Press to introduce some multilingual capability to PeepSo. In general, it works great. The problem is that the notifications in PeepSo are translated before they are stored in the database, not after. Which means if one user has English and one user has German, and the guy who uses German comments on the other guy's post, the notification will be generated in German, unfortunately. And there is no simple way around it, since people can switch languages on the fly. The only way that it might ever work properly is if we rewrite our notification system to be translated as it's displayed to the user rather than when it's written to the database, which is what we are working on right now. We will probably have a similar problem with notification emails, mostly because our system has not been designed with multilingual in mind. That being said, we have a lot going on. We have a lot cooking for the future. Like I said, events, mobile app, post backgrounds, stories, multilingual. So it is definitely a good idea to stay updated because we have a lot of stuff going on, and also with the security patches that we have just released, it is generally a good idea to be up to date. So thank you for watching, and as always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us through peepso.com, through support tickets, or maybe our community. For more updates, you can join our community, subscribe our newsletter, and of course subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.